Are there parallels to what we've been seeing today here in Washington? And as you look at the investigation, is there a double standard from what we saw in 1998 and what we're seeing today?
Well, it's so interesting to hear the echo of some of the same terms and words and talking points that we listened to in 1998 and 1999. President Clinton at the time, as we remember vividly, did a lot of his own defense. He came to his own defense. He actually spoke at the microphone and pointed his finger and said that he did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
He talked about it as a political coup d'etat. He said it was a witch hunt, that this was all a political act. Some of the same words, the same actual concept of making a really strong effort, both in the Clinton impeachment and in President Trump's inquiry, have been focused on trying to make it look as partisan as possible. And I mentioned to you that when the House authorized the inquiry under President Clinton, remember they voted to support an actual inquiry, 31 Democrats crossed the aisle and supported that. What we have seen with President Trump is a really strong Republican effort to stand with him, and no Republicans voted in September for the inquiry.
I rise in support of the article of impeachment and recognize myself for 5 minutes. Mr. Chairman, this article of impeachment, Article 3, is the one that relates to obstruction of justice by President Clinton. There are 7 specifically mentioned instances of alleged obstruction of justice that are contained in this article. And it does have the words one or more in that, so we don't have the problem of making that interpretation. There will be members on the Republican side of the aisle that will specifically address themselves to each of these instances of obstruction of justice. But I think that if we looked at it from the criminal context, which we're not here, but there have got to be 3 elements of what makes obstruction of justice. First, there's got to be a pending federal judicial proceeding. There was in this case with the Paula Jones civil rights lawsuit. Secondly, the defendant had to know of the proceeding. Mr. Clinton was the civil defendant in that lawsuit. He'd been served the papers on it. And third, that the defendant acted corruptly and with intent to obstruct and interfere with the proceeding or the due administration of justice.